The Battlefield 1 Beta has caused a lot of controversy within the community, and from people who I've spoken to who have either put in a lot of hours to the beta or got sick of it straight away, it's come to my attention that some things desperately need changing and other things are perfect the way they are. Now, before I get this video underway, I'd just like to say that these are all opinions. I mean, you can love the game, you can hate the game. I'm not going to hold anything against you for having that opinion. This is just my opinion and some things that I've taken from other people and kind of agreed with and thought, yeah, that could be a nice compromise, or that could be something that they could add. I know a lot of stuff is being added to the forums as well, so if there's anything that you want to add to this and maybe help DICE out before they release the full game, hopefully they do take some of this stuff into account and, you know, make some additions and changes to the game before the full release. So firstly, it's a given that the game looks fantastic and the audio is brilliant. Now, I knew this is how it was going to be, everyone pretty much did. Battlefield 4 was a good looking game, so was BF3. Hardline, not really too sure, but I couldn't really complain, to be honest, didn't play it enough. And Battlefront was fantastic. This game has a Battlefront feeling about it, maybe not so much the gunplay and the vehicles and stuff like that, but it looks good, okay? It looks a bit like Battlefront, and the UI is no doubt incredibly similar. Not that this is a problem, Battlefront was a very good game for those who played it, sold quite a lot, got pretty good reviews and people enjoyed it. And that's the point of a video game, right? You're supposed to enjoy it. So following on from that, they've kind of copied a couple of things over. The UI's come over. And obviously I can't argue with that. I would say a couple of things that I don't really like that have come over, but again, it's not a massive issue. The way that some things, when they're destroyed, shrink and disappear, so the same as Battlefront. I mean, it doesn't clutter up the battlefield, which is kind of a good thing, but I think that when you destroy things and they straight away disappear and just dissolve into nothing, it's kind of disappointing. I was hoping that it'd be more like BF3 where you shoot something and it collapses and crushes everybody, but again, can't really complain. And again, with the way the map looks, some of the weather options, especially the sandstorm, it's fun because I like the way that it's completely random what happens. You know, you can have diverse weather patterns throughout the game, but I'm not a fan of dust storms and never have been throughout the whole Battlefield series, and it seems to come on quite early in the game and then you can't see, and there's also been some spotting difficulties with people as well. Talking about spotting, the 3D spotting on the game where there's an outline of players is ridiculous personally. I think it should just be when you spot somebody, your squad sees them, a 3D spot above their head like Battlefield 4, or get rid of 3D spotting altogether. I mean, it's easy mode, you don't really need it. Next, this is a big one, the classes. Now, I'm pretty certain that over half of the people watching this video, maybe even more, would agree with me in saying snipers and the sniper class is not too OP, but it's being overused by everybody. Everyone runs as a sniper, and especially if you've played Rush, you'll come up against everyone sitting and hiding up in the mountains, and if they're attacking, you don't want snipers, you want maybe 2 snipers and everyone else rushes and arms the MCOMs. If everyone's sniping, yes, it might be fun, yes, you might get yourself a couple of long-range sniper shots and it's really satisfying, but that's not the way the game's supposed to be played. You're supposed to rush onto the MCOMs, arm them, and move on. A couple of guys camping behind as a sniper to cover you. The way that I think they should really combat this, and it would be combated if we have custom servers, which is also up in the air completely, but if we have custom servers, you can obviously have a sniper limit. But if the sniper class was limited in games of Rush, I know this is a beta, so they haven't done this stuff, but if it was limited and maybe only 3 or 4 people out of the 12 people could go as a sniper, or do something to encourage people to actually get on flags. And that leads me on to the next class that, in my opinion, is being completely ruined, and this is the medic class. Why on earth would you give a medic, somebody who has to be in the thick of the action with, it's a syringe, not defibs this time around, but something to revive people, and a medic pack? Why would you give them a medium to long range weapon? They should have the close range machine guns, the PDWs. These are the weapons that the medics should have. The assault class should have maybe a mixture of different weapons. The assault class should be the common class that you can run and do anything with. The medic should be the close quarter combat, arming MCOMs, getting on flags, getting right in the thick of the action, frontline stuff. That is what the medic class should be. I've also noticed in the medic class that you can have essentially the same kit that you had in BF4. So you can have a grenade launcher, you can have a smoke grenade launcher. I'm pretty certain it's a smoke grenade launcher. But there's all sorts of different stuff you can have. Now for me, the medic class should be completely limited to defibs and the med bag. This way, people are forced to revive you, and that is what makes the game really good fun. There's nothing better than in a game of Battlefield to get sniped by somebody and then get revived and have another chance to take them down. It's a better way of doing things, in my opinion, and possibly have a little option, you know, something attachment to a gun that can maybe fire a grenade into a wall. Just a little attachment. But you shouldn't have to take up one of the key slots, like the defib slot, just to let somebody fire an HE grenade into a wall and blow some people up. Same with Battlefield 4, but I don't know why they haven't learnt from that and brought it over to BF1. As for the support class, I haven't played it enough to make a judgment on it. I assume it's pretty similar to BF4. You know, you've got your big heavy machine guns, and then you've got it would be dynamite and a couple of other things. Also, the option with ammo is quite a nice one. I'm pretty certain if you go close to somebody, they automatically give you ammo, so they don't have to drop it. That's quite a nice thing to see. It's also worth noting that in the beta, the revive symbol has disappeared, I think, so that's why people haven't been getting as many revives as possible, or as usual, but every time I click, is there somebody close? I never see any medics, they're all playing assault, so it kind of makes no difference. Something that I really dislike about the game so far, and something that really does need addressing, is the bullet spread on weapons. Now, I haven't played enough infantry to really give a detailed opinion on this, but whenever I am up in a gunfight against somebody, it feels as though the recoil control is nothing like the old Battlefield games. It's just completely random spread. And I know there's probably something that I'm missing. Maybe there's something that you can learn about the guns and they might take a long time to master, but it just seems as though I'm being forced to get into close combat with people and I'm just spraying and praying. I'm not really ADSing too much, and it's ultra casual. And by that I mean, take CSGO for instance. Anyone can play CSGO, but it takes years to master that game because of the spread patterns and the recoil control and things like that. In BF1, I can't imagine it'll take that long. Again, this can be seen with the snipers. There's no argument about the snipers being slightly easier in BF1. I find them way easier than BF4. I'm sniping everybody in BF1, and I never really picked up a sniper beforehand. That's because there's hardly any bullet drop and the bullets fly really fast. There's no argument about that at all. I don't really mind that, but some people are getting a bit frustrated because they were looking for more of a BF4 game than a Battlefront game. But again, what can you do? Nowadays games are selling because people buy them on console, sit and play on a Sunday afternoon. I can't argue with that. As long as the game's fun, I'm not going to really have too much of an issue. Now, the game modes so far available in the beta are Conquest and Rush. Now, Conquest, a lot of fun. It's a similar setup to what we're used to, except the point scoring system is different. I prefer the old point scoring system personally because that meant kills actually counted for something, and you could have a game that would go down to maybe you'd have 5 tickets on one team and 100 on the other, or maybe not 100, but 50 or 60 or something, and the game could still be turned. Those moments aren't going to happen in BF1, however the games will be slightly closer, especially with the behemoths. Personally, I don't agree, but I can see why they've done it. With Rush, however, I'm not really too happy, and that is because there's not enough people, simply. You need to have 15 versus 15 or 20 versus 20 at least in that game. 32 versus 32 on the map that we've seen in the beta is a bit too much, personally. It would just be a sniper fest. You wouldn't be able to get on the flag. But 15 versus 15, especially considering 5 people in a squad, you're going to have people left out in a 12v12 match. I just think there needs to be a few more players. Apart from that, not really going to argue. I think the map's quite nice. The MCOM points are quite well done, and the F flag, or the canyon where you come through in Rush, is a really, really nice engagement point, especially with the different height variations and the different spots that you can get into. I think it's a really, really nice flag. Now here's the big one, the vehicles of BF1. What do I think? Obviously, the majority of my game time is spent in a vehicle. I really like vehicles, and the tank is probably my favourite vehicle in the Battlefield series. I also played a lot in the heli and stuff, but the tank has always been what I go to and what I started out with. BF1 is fantastic for tanking overall. There are 3 different tanks, lots of different loadouts, great opportunities for teamwork in all of them. Even the small tank has the smoke and the other option with the gas grenade, which is great in a game of Rush. You can just race across the battlefield with it and shroud everybody in smoke so they have a chance to get onto the MCOMs and things like that. I think it's great. The small tank, however, and possibly some of the main cannons on the other tanks are just a little bit too good in a game of Conquest and Rush. It took me a little while in BF4 before I could almost, no, I wouldn't say master, but be quite good in the tank. In BF1, it took me about, 10 minutes. My first game on Rush in the small tank was 48-0. Now, I'm not saying that that shouldn't be possible to do. I mean, I was fighting other tanks and killing other tanks. They had the opportunity to kill me with the same tank. But I feel as if the infantry who were fighting me were limited with what they could do. There was one game I was playing, I remember, on Conquest, where there were 2 or 3 snipers up in the hill using K-bullets to shoot me, and they were doing very little damage. And because I was using the howitzer loadout, I could then just use the quick repair for 30 health or whatever it is, and get myself back up to 80 or 90 HP, and get out of there. What I'm trying to get at is there needs to be more for the infantry to take out the tanks. They'll probably nerf the tanks a bit, and I can understand that, but the main problem is the infantry don't have stuff to take them out. I'd say this is most obvious with the fact that you can't take out a tank with TNT straight away. I think the TNT just isn't as effective as it should be, and most people will agree with me on this. The planes, I've had a little go in those as well. They're pretty fun. I would say that a couple of the problems with the planes revolve around people not knowing how to use them properly yet. I wouldn't say that they're that bad. I think it's the tank hunter plane, one of those. It's the attack plane with the main cannon on the front and the bombs underneath. That is a lot of fun. Dusting seems to be a little issue for some people, but I haven't really noticed it too much. And talking about the planes brings me on to one more fact. E-flag on the game. We all know that E-flag is really far away from the rest of the action, and because BF1 is World War I, vehicles aren't as quick, and it's hard to get over their cap and get back. I'll often see it being capped at the beginning of a match and not being touched for the whole rest of the game. Now, Echo Flag has been designed for planes to go and cap. The cap radius is quite big, the height ceiling is also quite big, and admittedly, I think it should be a little bigger so you can actually dogfight and stuff within the flag, kind of a mini air superiority flag. But the problem still lies there that people don't know that when they first get into the game. Again, there needs to be something that tells you that's where you need to go in the plane to cap it. But I do like that idea. I'm really happy that they've implemented that into the game. We saw it in Shanghai in BF4, with the Charlie Tower being somewhere where the helicopters would always flock to, and you get people up on the roof, and it was a really influential point. With E, it's not really influential, but it's nice to see that vehicles can go there and take it. One more thing I'd like to talk about, the armoured train in Battlefield 1. I think it is absolutely superb. So much better than that airship that we saw in the alpha. The airship for me didn't really do anything apart from annoy everybody, but the armoured train, now that is a really good idea. And the reason it's such a good idea is because it runs directly through flags, and when the train gets on a flag, the flag gets capped and the game starts to turn. The gunship, or the Zeppelin, doesn't get flags. All it does is occupy people from your team. You kill some tanks, you kill some people. As kills don't count, I don't really see the point in it. The armoured train, however, fantastic. It's also a lot of fun to be in. You can get in with your squad mates, you can shoot down planes, wreck tanks, take any infantry down that are in your way, and because of the way it's positioned and the height difference between D and C, it's not that difficult to actually get away from the train. If you don't want to fight it, you don't want to engage it, you can disappear and go to the other side of the map and keep all of the flags you've already got. I'm actually really, really pleased with the train, and it's one of the best things about that map for me. Now, as I said, I know this is a really, really potent topic at the minute. Lots of people are talking about it, and you've all got your own opinion. In the comments down below, I'd like you to leave a couple of things that you think they should definitely change about the game. Of course, there will be tons of stuff down there that you want changing. I'm more than happy to read through all of it and have conversations with anyone who wants to have a chat about it. Again, the vehicles are closest to me, really, in terms of what I've actually achieved so far in the game. So anything to do with tanks, let me know, and I can give you an honest opinion on what I think about them. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.